folks, how you doing? How you feeling? Welcome to this week's episode of Search and Report. I am your host, True Fernie, and today there's a lot of things that happened over the weekend that I really want to talk about, and they have to do with Nintendo and the Nintendo Switch 2, but it's not about necessarily the Nintendo Switch 2. But first, let me talk about what I have been playing over the past week. More of Tears of the Kingdom. I'm on my second playthrough of that game, second or third. No, second. And I am about to beat it again. Got all the shrines, got all the outfits. And that's essentially what I usually do. I don't like doing 100% of Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom because there's just too many Korok seeds and it's boring and I don't want to do that. But I've also been revisiting other Zelda games. I've been playing Twilight Princess. I've been playing Wind Waker. I cannot wait for day one being able to play Wind Waker on the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm very, very excited to see how the emulation for the GameCube is going to work on the Nintendo Switch 2. It's something that I'm very, very excited to see if they can pull it off well. If I'm not mistaken, the GameCube is one of the easier games, consoles to emulate in terms of their games. So I'm really excited to see how that all works and see if Nintendo provides us with any exciting new stuff from here until essentially it's now less than a month. It is May 6th at the day of my recording, and Nintendo Switch releases on June 5th, so less than a month. Very excited for that. So without further ado, let's get first into the news item of this week, which I do want to talk about, is that the company that leaked the Switch 2 design is being sued by Nintendo. Who could have seen this coming? I mean, anybody with a set of eyes could have told you this was going to happen. But let's get into the first news item. So here we have the Nintendo Life reporting by Damian McFerrin. Genki used Nintendo's trademarks in violation of Nintendo's rights. Remember when the accessory maker Genki behind products like the Shadowcast and SavePoint, which I've heard are great products, and I'm really, really glad that I did not pre-order a Switch 2 case because I was about to from Genki because I couldn't find anywhere else because I do like to play Nintendo Switch handheld. I don't play on the TV as much unless if I'm capturing footage or on the off chance that I'm streaming or whatever. I usually play my Nintendo Switch handheld, and I just always get those grip cases. I have one for like Ozurli, and I have another one from, I forgot the name of the other company, but whatever. No free promo, whatever. So I was really looking into getting this one, and Genki was one of the only ones that actually had something ready to pre-order because they had access to the renderings and the designs ahead of time. And that's the reason why they're getting sued. But they showed off a mock-up of the Switch 2 at CES earlier this year, stealing a march on Nintendo's official unveiling. Well, it turns out Nintendo itself wasn't too thrilled at the surprise being ruined and is taking Genki to court. In documents spotted by Oatmeal Dome, Nintendo claims that Genki demoed and promoted unauthorized purported mock-ups and renderings of Nintendo Switch 2 and its accessories at CES, infringing its trademarks. Genki CEO Edward Zai is also charged with showing 3D printed mock-ups and claiming that Genki had access to an authentic Switch 2 on which Genki based the mock-ups, renderings, and 3D printed mock-ups. Nintendo adds that Genki purportedly confirmed specific, highly confidential designs and functionality of the not yet announced Switch 2. Nintendo claims that these actions have been designed to capitalize on and appropriate the public's anticipation for the release of Nintendo's next generation console, and feels that Genki has used Nintendo's trademarks and trade dress in connection with the marketing of its business and its unauthorized third-party accessories in violation of Nintendo's rights in those marks. Nintendo also says that Genki's claim that it had access to a real Switch 2 is false, something Genki itself has since confirmed. Genki's claims of compatibility would be impossible to guarantee without unauthorized, illegal early access to the Nintendo Switch 2. Thus, Genki has misled and is misleading the public as to its ability to guarantee the compatibility of its products with the Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo takes issue with Genki's social media and web activities, which seem to suggest that it had infiltrated Nintendo's HQ. It would later post a message on the site with the comment, "Can you keep a secret? We can't." It is really funny that, I'm just always surprised with how little a lot of corporations care, or how little they think or put behind some of their business practices, because you could have seen this from a mile coming. Once Nintendo, what's the word? Disseminating a leak is not necessarily illegal. That's not the issue here. The issue is that Genki used that leak and some of those measurements to capitalize and try and get ahead of Nintendo Switch 2 by creating these scripts and creating these products and accessories for the Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo is then going after that, saying that they are capitalizing and taking advantage, and to an extent misleading the public on what they have access and what they don't have access. That's essentially the main issue. I know I'm the first person to always paint Nintendo as a greedy, evil corporation, but this is definitely something that any corporation that ever has this done to them would take the same steps. Because, well, first of all, it sucks that you work for so long on the release of a console, release of anything. If you ever make anything and it gets ruined in this way, you're obviously going to have issues with it. And it sucks. But it goes further than that, capitalizing on that and kind of misleading your audience to think that, you don't really have things under wraps. It kind of makes it seem that, you're not a very credible company. You're not serious enough about safety. You're not serious about your trademarks, et cetera, et cetera. And then at the same time, they don't want to be Nintendo. From my understanding, they don't want to be liable in case, Genki releases these accessories and they don't fit on the Nintendo Switch 2, because Genki promised that it was based on designs that the Nintendo themselves released. It can get a little bit difficult there. So I don't blame Nintendo for taking these very, very aggressive steps. I think it was expected, and I'm really surprised that Genki, even the CEO, was this careless as to even show it on CES. Like, that is incredibly reckless in my opinion. You put the sights right on your forehead, bro. What are you doing? So I don't necessarily feel bad for Genki at all. Genki since then has responded to Nintendo Switch's to the lawsuit from Nintendo, and they say that their focus remains on building gear for gamers. Here, Jim Norman reports last weekend Nintendo openly opened the lawsuit, yada yada, and they released a statement confirming that the team is taking it seriously and working with legal counsel to respond thoughtfully. In the post from Twitter, this is what they say. You may have seen that Nintendo recently filed a lawsuit against us. We're taking it seriously and working with legal counsel to respond thoughtfully. What we can say is this: Genki has always been an independent company focused on building innovative gaming accessories for the community we love. We're proud of the work we've done, and we stand by the quality and originality of our products. While we can't comment in detail, we're continuing preparations to fulfill orders and showcase our newest products at PAX East this week. We're grateful for the overwhelming support we've received so far. We'll share more when we can, but for now, we're staying focused on doing what we do best: building gear for gamers. Team Genki. In Nintendo's core documents, the company claims that Genki infringed on its trademarks after it demoed and promoted unauthorized, purported mock-ups and renderings of the Nintendo Switch 2 and its accessories. This, Nintendo claims, was designed to capitalize on and appropriate the public's anticipation for the release of Nintendo's next generation console. Really stupid on Genki's part. I just don't understand why they would do that. I don't understand why they wouldn't, even if they had that advantage of the designs, which we essentially kind of all did at one point. Keep that to yourself, and use that to your advantage. Even though, like, some would argue that even creating the accessories ahead of time without knowing, without the world knowing or without Nintendo knowing, can also land you in a little bit of legal trouble. I think it would have been a little more digestible. You being Nintendo, and then you see like one of your an accessory maker just randomly drops accessories day one on June 5th. If Genki would have dropped this on June 5th, hey, we have accessories ready for the Nintendo Switch 2, it would definitely raise some eyebrows. But you could probably use the legal defense and say, like, we're hard at work and, we just pushed it through. Or you should just release pre-orders. Like, there's ways to have gone around and still capitalize on these leaks without putting without putting like the literal gun to your head from Nintendo. So there are ways to address this. There were ways for them to try and attack this and still capitalize on it. But it was just very silly. I think clout is a hell of a drug, and I think clout got to them, and I feel like they wanted to be like, hey, look, we're ahead of the game. Like we know what the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to look like. We're innovative. We're the first ones to do it. And it's like, what's the purpose? Nobody has the console yet. Why do you want to be that first accessories company? Like, I don't really understand it. It gave them attention, yes, but I feel like it gave them all the wrong attention. So shout out to Genki, man. If you work for Genki, reach out to me. I would love to hear more of like what the logic behind this whole strategy was, this rollout strategy since January. It just seems very reckless in my opinion, and I just don't understand what the angle here was. I understand wanting to be the first ones, but what does that bring to the company? It's sometimes better to just keep quiet and hold your cards close to your chest and then reveal them when it's time to, and just say that the design just kind of like came to you in a dream, or your team is so effective that as soon as you got your hands on a Nintendo Switch 2, you were able to produce these at such a high rate, like such a quick timeline. I don't know. There were ways to go about this, and it's just really, really hilarious to me that they just went all guns blazing on something that nobody has access to. Why would anybody buy an accessory for a console they don't have yet? Doesn't make any sense. Whatever. My second news story that I want to talk about is still Nintendo Switch 2 related, but we did finally get 12 Switch games confirmed that will receive a free Switch 2 upgrades. I'm very excited for this. One of my main issues with a lot of the Nintendo Switch 1 games for me were usually it was like frame drops, lagging, the myriad of issues with Nintendo, with Pokemon Switch and Violet, Pokemon Switch and Violet, Violet and Scarlet and Violet. I mean, necessarily that's not, a Nintendo problem, but more so a Game Freak problem. But even games like Link's Awakening, some of the even issues with Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, they did get to me, and they really did kind of affect my gameplay a little bit sometimes. So we finally got some confirmation as to what other games besides the ones that have already been announced with, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, all those games that are going to get Nintendo Switch 2 edition. There's going to be some games that are going to get the free Switch 2 upgrades. The confirmed free upgrades alongside Pokemon Scarlet and Violet so far are going to be ARMS, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario 3D World, and Bowser's Fury, which is going to be amazing because Bowser's Fury is an amazing game. If you haven't played that game, I really recommend you check it out. It's really, really fun. Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. I don't understand how you can upgrade that. It's already a very non-demanding game. about tabletop games, whatever. Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Echoes of Wisdom had some really bad performance issues at times. Game Builder Garage, amazing. That's one of my favorite games, and one of the most creative first party games from Nintendo. So I'm excited to see what people can build with a stronger console with that game. We get New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Never get to play it. Big Brain Academy, Brain versus Brain, another game which I never thought that needed an upgrade in performance or just a Nintendo Switch 2 edition. But here, further Nintendo Life reports, as Nintendo has also mentioned, apart from the free upgrades, it will also be offering paid upgrades for select existing titles like Breath of the Wild, adding performance and resolution updates as well as additional features. The official description says, free updates to improve playability on the Nintendo Switch 2 system will be released for select Nintendo Switch games. By connecting your Nintendo Switch 2 to the internet, you can download free updates and may improve performance or add support for features such as game share in select games, and the contents of these free updates will differ depending on the game. I'm just glad that Nintendo is actually doing something to better their games, better the performance. Nintendo is not big on being on the cutting edge of technology, but still, I don't think it excuses them from bad optimization, or at least just a console that's not powerful enough in the year 2025. So I'm glad that they're still supporting past games, previous games, older games, in this way. The easier route would have been to just do like the main ones, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and just get it over with. But I'm glad that even some of these smaller releases are still getting the attention from Nintendo. So I truly do commend them for that. It's the bare minimum, but still, I'm going to commend them. And then last but not least, this one I'm very excited about. As I reported last week, GTA 6 got delayed, but everybody was sad. Nobody was really expecting anything else from them. I guess, a lot of people, me included, were kind of like, okay, well, I guess we won't get a nothing else from them until the holiday season. What does Rockstar go ahead and do? Like, to just add salt to the wound? They released the second trailer for GTA 6. And let me tell you, man, I am so excited for this game. Like, it is incredible how much I am just going to be enjoying the hell out of this game, man. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so exciting. It even caught me off guard how some like these first shots, how much they like, how realistic they look. It's just very, very insane to me how realistic it looks. They literally look like real people. And like, I don't always say that, but my God, man, like they really did their thing. And now I kind of see and understand the delays. Now I see and understand why they don't want to rush the game. They don't want to, reportedly, they say that Rockstar doesn't want to add crunch to their development, which I commend them to. It's the bare minimum again. I'm not going to give them a pass on that. It's not something that you should do. Crunch is a failure of management. So I'm glad that at least they're, being open about that and transparent. But seeing this, man, like it's an incredible looking game. Most of these are obviously cutscenes. I don't believe they're pre-rendered cutscenes. I think they're in-game cutscenes. It looks amazing. Not a lot of gameplay, obviously, from this trailer, but still very, very nice looking, man. I'm just impressed. I'm impressed with the lighting. It really captures the feeling of what I essentially think Miami is like. I've been in similar places that kind of resemble Miami, and it gives you that feeling, man. The lighting, the ambience. I don't know, man. Like God, the lighting just looks so good. That's the main thing for me, man. The upgrades from GTA 5 to this, even GTA 4 to 5, were incredible to me, man. But this is honestly what I think one of the first games where I can literally say, all right, yeah, this is next gen. These are next gen games. It's incredible, man. I'm gonna link the trailer down below. Even seeing like the reflections of a TV off the glass, off the window, the water reflections, just amazing, man. There's not much I can say. It kind of sucks that it just got delayed for another year, literally a whole year. May 26th, 2026. So yeah, I just hope I'm still alive by then. Touch wood. It's just amazing. It's great. It's great. There's not much I can say about this, man, without like glazing it to the highest of degrees. But yeah, it's a pretty short show. It's a short podcast episode today. I kind of want to make these bi-weekly. No, not bi-weekly. I want to do two of these every week, because I feel like trying to cram everything in one episode would make these very, very long. And I don't necessarily like long podcasts. There's only two podcasts that I really do listen all the way through, and they're like even up to 2 hours long. But for me, I feel like these little bite-sized news podcast episodes are a little bit easier to digest, especially when I'm trying to build up my channel alongside the podcast. Makes it easier to upload and not just, mess up my whole channel and make it seem that now my YouTube channel is a podcast channel. So there's a mixed strategy there. So bear with me while I try and figure this out. But folks, I've been True Fernie. If you like this video, if you like this podcast, please make sure to like and subscribe to us. Make sure to rate us on iTunes. iTunes. How old am I? I'm 33. So yeah. Make sure to rate us on Apple Podcasts. Make sure to give us a listen and follow us on Spotify. And make sure to listen to us wherever you get your podcast. Just make sure to give us a good review down there. And also, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, True Fernie. But yeah, links to my socials are down below. Please make sure to follow me on Blue Sky, where I spend most of my waking hours talking about gaming, talking about basketball right now. The playoffs are kind of crazy, not gonna lie. Yesterday, man, Denver versus OKC, insane game. Knicks versus Celtics, brother. I'm just happy that the big dogs are kind of like slowly crumbling. That's all I'm gonna say. As a Mavs fan, I need some wins in any way I can get them. And if the Celtics lose, I'm always happy. But make sure to follow me on Blue Sky, where I spend most of my waking hours talking about anything and everything that might interest you as my viewer. Folks, this has been Search and Report. Please take care of one another, but most importantly, take care of yourself, because we gotta wait. We gotta stay alive till May 26th of 2026, because this is gonna be a masterpiece of a game. $100 maybe, I don't know. That's a lot of money, but I'd pay it. From the looks of it, it's worth it. All right, let me shut up before I get all these hate comments. Peace.